let's talk about Senna briefly. It is the 30th anniversary this year. The Las Vegas Sphere on the 1st of May was Senna's helmet.
Yeah.
So, you know, the legend lives on. Do you miss him?
I do, because you sort of wonder where he'd be now, don't you? I mean, he obviously would have won more world championships if we hadn't have lost him on May Day 94, a race I was in. And in his car, actually, wasn't I? I was in the McLaren that he vacated to go to Williams. But you sort of wonder if he'd have been president of Brazil by now, or just how far he could have gone, because he was that kind of man. You know, he wasn't going to just retire from motorsport and do something else. He was on his way to even more greatness, I think. So,
but from a personal point of view, what do you miss about Ayrton Senna?
Do you know, it's so long ago, and I had so many hits on the head, in that, including Ayrton once in a Formula 3 car. War. I think, yeah, I do miss them. I hadn't really thought about it actually until you just asked that. And same with Michael Schumacher. I feel sorry for them that they missed the upside of their greatness. Yes,
Martin, you're in a very privileged position in that you were teammate to Michael Schumacher at Benetton, went wheel to wheel with Ayrton Senna in Formula 3, tested that McLaren, of course, in late 83 alongside him. What is it about those two that stood out? Were there any common traits?
So Senna and Schumacher. So Senna was a man driven by his heart. He had a God-given talent for grip and speed and understanding how a car worked underneath him that I've really seen. I stood on the side of the track in the 60s and watched Jim Clark, who's a man I will imagine had that kind of gift as well. I think Max Verstappen's got that gift of understanding grip. When you see him in the rain or whatever, of just understanding where the grip is and how to... And other drivers too. Lewis, I think, is another driver. But so I don't want to get into that list because that's a separate conversation. But Ayrton had a talent that was something very special, an incredible sort of feel. Michael was driven from his head completely, and was slightly more methodical. I don't think he had the raw speed of Ayrton or even Mika, if the truth be known. But Michael was really clever inside the car and out of the car. And I think that's where he made the difference. He galvanised the whole team around him. He got all the right people pointing in the right direction for him and won his championships. And Michael was so clever like that. And he just did it a different way.
And which was the more devastating talent?
For me, and I think if you ask any driver or any sports person, they'll tend to veer towards their own era because that's what they know best. So for me, the greatest driver of all time was Ayrton Senna. He had this gift, this talent I mentioned, and I saw it. I raced against him for 11 years in F3 and F1 and what have you. But he was quite a complex individual. So the more rounded driver was Michael.